Hey, what's going on guys, Nate here, and today I would like to ask the simple question of whether or not Bethesda should develop an entirely new engine for The Elder Scrolls 6. Fallout 4's technical limitations made it rather clear that perhaps it's time for Bethesda to ditch the last traces of the withering Gamebryo engine, and finally create something totally modern, ready to capitalize on the total firepower of current gen and upcoming platforms. Now before we dig too deep here, a little bit of history. For Morrowind, Oblivion, and Fallout 3, Bethesda depended on the Gamebryo engine, an ancient piece of technology developed in the early 90s, presumably by the Romans. Now, it should be noted that for its time, Gamebryo was actually rather revolutionary. But following the release of Fallout 3, Gamebryo was turning 19 years old, and despite desperate efforts to update and overhaul it, Bethesda was beginning to realize that it was looking remarkably outdated, and needed something new before the company's next big release, The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. So the studio went to work on the Creation Engine, essentially a modular-natured, new-ish engine that was still heavily influenced by Gamebryo, which would later go on to limit its capabilities, but it still got the job done. And by Skyrim's release in 2011, the Creation Engine had proved itself to be a successful piece of technology, allowing Skyrim to have visuals and performance benchmarks far superior to its predecessors. Real-time shadows, better rendering, more dynamic radiant AI, and even more flexible modding capabilities, all huge milestones that the Creation Engine was able to achieve. But fast forward to Fallout 4, and signs of outdatedness are now more evident than ever before. The graphics in FO4 looked good, but they failed to be great, and even then, it was obvious the engine was having significant issues rendering in even its own textures. Atrocious pop-in, terrible frame rate stutters when you would enter Boston, that at times would make gunfights nearly unplayable, and the technical shortcomings were staples of the aging state of the Creation Engine. Even on high-end PCs, the engine just couldn't make full use of the hardware available in modern systems. Moving along about another year to the launch of Skyrim Special Edition, and the engine holds its own rather well, but do keep in mind the original Skyrim was already built off of the Creation Engine. Bethesda just remastered it to a superior version. Anyway, I digress. Skyrim Special Edition looks pretty good, and it runs better, but is still capped to just 30 frames on consoles, something that really shouldn't be happening considering the undemanding nature of Skyrim compared with the power of current-gen systems. Moving along, while the remaster looked good, I don't think many of us were completely stunned by any means. And if The Elder Scrolls 6 were to have graphics equivalent to Skyrim Special Edition or Fallout 4, I think most of us would be thoroughly disappointed. I mean, this game is expected to come out 2019-2020. For it to look like a game like Fallout 4 probably wouldn't exactly be desirable. Now, of course, even if Bethesda keeps the current Creation Engine, they'll still tweak it a bit and improve the visual quality by some measure. However, just judging by how bad Fallout 4 struggled to produce its visuals, it probably won't be anything massive. Whereas a new engine could introduce aspects such as physically based rendering and photogrammetry, a word I still don't know how to say properly, and a whole bunch of other tools that could really transform the game's graphics from, meh, they're alright, they're decent, to, wow, these are amazing. That said, developing an entire new game engine is no easy task, but more and more is it seeming to be necessary for Bethesda to modernize, so this hypothetical new engine could be able to take full advantage of the Xbox One and PS4's hardware, not to mention the PS4 Pro and even more powerful Xbox Project Scorpio. The problem here, however, is that creating a new engine takes time. Quite a bit of it, and depending on the resources Bethesda is willing to sacrifice, it could take anywhere from 6 months to a year to complete, time that Bethesda could spend working on The Elder Scrolls 6 itself, a game that's already not coming out until 2019 at the earliest. So it seemed like the studio's already taking their time. I mean, we're looking at an 8-year gap between the Elder Scrolls titles, for God's sake. Yet, to that tune, I remain a firm believer that companies and developers should never sacrifice the quality of a title for the purpose of a quicker release. So in my opinion, if Bethesda were to delay The Elder Scrolls 6 by up to a year, but produce a new quality engine, it would be well worth the wait. I mean, just imagine how great it would look for an Elder Scrolls game to have the visuals of something like The Witcher, or maybe I'm stretching it here, but something like Battlefront even? I don't know. There's a lot that Bethesda could do with a new engine, and I think it very much is time for a new one personally. But I'm gonna wrap up the video right here. Leave a like if you all enjoyed, dislike if you did not, and let me know in the comment section down below how you feel. Would you rather Bethesda get this game out as quickly as possible so you can get playing The Elder Scrolls again, or would you prefer them take their time, wait another year, year and a half, develop a new engine, and get all that stuff articulated? Anyway guys, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Peace out, everybody!